Hey guys, welcome back to Yoga with Leona, your site for everything about yoga and breast cancer recovery. So today's video is going to be a continuation of the Sun Salutation video that I did, where I demonstrated the modified Sun Salutations where we used blocks to help keep our spine straight. So those are sort of the introductory Sun Salutations, or the Sun Salutations that we want to do when we're just starting a yoga practice or just getting back to a yoga practice after a breast cancer treatment. But if you've been doing those for a while, or if you had a yoga practice or you're fairly flexible before your breast cancer treatment, you might want to do some different types of Sun Salutations, some that are a little bit more vigorous and some that just require a little bit more flexibility in the hips, hamstrings, and low back. So I want to demonstrate those for you today, and then for any of my yoga asana videos, you can choose the Sun Salutations that work for you. So you can adapt the practice a little bit based on what condition you're in at any given point. So some of the Sun Salutations I'm going to do today are going to require some weight into the arms. So we're going to be going through downward facing dog. And so, of course, you want to make sure that it's safe for you to be doing that. So when I first had my bilateral mastectomy, I was told by my surgeon that I was not to put any significant amount of weight into my arms for at least 2 months. And so if you're new to this practice, you haven't been doing this kind of yoga before, or if your surgery was relatively recent, you want to make sure and ask your doctor if it's okay for you to be putting any kind of weight into your arms. Tell them you're starting a yoga practice, and you want to make sure that it's safe for you. So once you're sure that it's safe for you, the idea is that we just want to build up to putting weight into our arms relatively slowly. So you don't want to come the first day you come and do these Sun Salutations and do like 108. You want to work slowly. Start with just a few, make sure it feels okay. Do that for some period of maybe even a couple of weeks before you start building up the number and the duration of time that you're holding weight into your arms. All right, so let's go ahead and get started, and I'll show you a few different Sun Salutations that I like to do. The first one is kneeling. So if you're going to do the kneeling one, you might want to grab a little blanket or something to pad your knees. So I like to use this folded up yoga towel. And you want to make sure that it's wide enough that you've got plenty of room for your knees. So this one, I call it a kneeling Sun Salutation. Some people call it a moon salutation because it's a little gentler than some of the standing ones. But it's pretty simple and easy to do as long as you're able to sit on your knees like this. So as long as you're able to kneel, you could work on this one. So it's really easy. I'll lead you through it. You're going to inhale and stretch your arms up as you rise up. You can take a gentle back bend here. And then on an exhale, you fold your body down and come into child's pose. On an inhale, you come up onto your hands and knees, belly sinks down, head up. This is a cow. And then on an exhale, you push your spine up to the sky, head comes down. Inhale, belly down, head up, another cow. Exhale, sink your hips back for child's pose again. And then inhale, come all the way up onto your knees, arms above head, back bend. And exhale, sit it down. All right, that's one option. I'm going to show you a couple points where you might need to modify it a little bit, and then I'll show you other ways that you could advance it as you're feeling good. So first thing is inhaling up, gentle back bend. Now coming down into child's pose might be difficult, keeping the arms above the head like this. So the option for that is to inhale all the way up. And as you exhale, you can go ahead and bring your hands to the floor and walk it down for child's pose. And then inhale up for your cow. Exhale, push your spine up for that mad cat. Inhale, belly down for a cow. Exhale, sit your hips back, child's pose. And then it's the same thing here. Instead of coming up with arms above your head, you might need to at first walk the arms up and then rise up more easily. And exhale, sit it down. All right? One more like that. Inhale up. Exhale, fold it forward, child's pose. Inhale up for a cow. Exhale, push your spine up to the sky. Inhale, belly down, cow. Exhale, sit it back, child's pose. And inhale all the way up. Exhale, sit it down. All right, great. Now, if you're ready to start putting some weight into your arms, this is a really great place to do it because you can take just a really brief downward facing dog instead of that mad cat. So let me show you what that looks like. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, forward fold for child's pose. Inhale, up for your cow. And then exhale, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Inhale, knees back down, cow. Exhale, sit it back. And inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, sit it down. So you can see this is just a very brief moment that you're staying in downward facing dog. So when you first start back to putting weight into the arms, this is a great place to do it. You're just there for a few seconds, not staying for a prolonged period, so it's a good way to start getting your arms used to it and make sure it's going to be okay for you. Let's do a couple more of those just so you see what they look like. All right, inhale, rise up, gentle back bend. Exhale, fold forward, child's pose. Inhale, come up on all fours for a cow. Exhale, tuck your toes, downward facing dog, hips back. Inhale, knees down, head up. Exhale, sit your hips back. And inhale all the way up. Exhale, have a seat. One more time. Inhale up. Exhale, forward fold, child's pose. Inhale up to hands and knees. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, knees down, another cow. Exhale, sit it back, child's pose. Inhale all the way up. And exhale, sit it down. All right, great. So that's the kneeling Sun Salutation. That's a great one, as long as your knees are okay with it. So, as I mentioned in the first video about the modified Sun Salutations, we often use a sequence or a series of Sun Salutations at the beginning of a yoga asana practice, and they're designed to get your body warmed up a little bit, get the blood pumping, start getting things limbered up and ready for the rest of your practice. So, I like to use a kneeling Sun Salutation at the beginning of my practice almost every time. All right, let's keep going. So now I'm going to show you a few other options for Sun Salutations that will not use the blocks. So as I mentioned, these are for if and when you feel like you've got enough flexibility in your hips and your low back to bend down and reach the floor. And in order to do that safely, we need to know that you don't have significant osteoporosis. So remember, if you watched my video about the modified Sun Salutations, the main reason to use the blocks is to help us keep our spine nice and straight. And that's because if you put excessive weight on the front side of the spine, bending forward, and you have low bone density, that can cause trouble with your bones. So only move forward to these type of Sun Salutations if you feel that it's safe for you because you don't have significant osteoporosis and you've got enough flexibility to bend forward with a flat back. All right, so the first one I'll show you is called a sun stretch. So we did a sun stretch with blocks, but let me show you what it looks like without the blocks. So you're going to inhale, stretch your arms to the sky, and then on an exhale, you fold forward with a flat back. See how I'm hinging from my hips. Now, if you've got tight hamstrings, you can bend the knees, and you bring the hands all the way to the floor. And then you inhale, lengthen spine halfway up. Exhale, fold forward again. See here, okay to bend the knees. And then on an inhale, coming up with that flat back. All the way to the sky, and then hands to your heart. Now, if your hamstrings are long and flexible enough, you can inhale up and exhale, fold forward with a flat back, keeping legs straight. That's only if your hamstrings are flexible enough. Then inhale, halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come all the way up with a flat back. Arms stretch to the sky and hands to your heart. Good, one more of those. Inhale up. Exhale, fold forward, hands to the floor. Inhale, head comes halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale up all the way to the top. Exhale, hands to your heart. Let me show it to you with the bent knees one more time in case you have tight hamstrings. Inhale up. Exhale, bend your knees. Keep your spine flat. Hands to the floor. Inhale, spine up halfway. Exhale, forward fold again. And then inhale, flat back to come up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Remembering, straight spine is the key to helping protect that spine from any kind of excess pressure. All right, so that's a sun stretch. Let's move on now to what we call Sun Salutation A, or Surya Namaskar A. So I'll show you a couple different ways to do it. And again, it'll depend on where you are in terms of arm strength and how much weight you're able to bear into the arms, and we just want to progress slowly, as I've always said. All right? So the first way to do Sun Salutation A looks like this. Inhale, arms up, and exhale, forward fold again with a flat back. Bend knees if you need to. And then on an inhale, your head comes up just slightly. And the first option is to just walk yourself back into a plank. Then you can keep your arms straight here and just swing through for upward facing dog. And then push your hips up and back for downward facing dog. Now we usually take 3 to 5 deep breaths in downward facing dog here, so it's a little more time in downward facing dog. So you want to do this after you know that you're okay spending a little time here. Then after 3 breaths, you look to the front of your mat and you just walk your legs back to the front. You lengthen your spine, fold forward, and then come all the way up with a flat back. Exhale, hands to your heart. Let's do it like that one more time. Inhale up. Exhale, forward fold. Again, bend knees if you need to. Inhale, head comes up slightly. And then exhale, walk yourself back to a plank. Then you can inhale, swing through, and you don't have to roll over the toes here. You can keep the toes down or roll over. And then hips push up and back, downward facing dog. 3 deep breaths in downward facing dog. Once it's okay for you to be in downward facing dog, it's actually a really great stretch for the shoulders, which can be really tight in us breast cancer survivors. So I actually really like this when I'm warming up. And then you look to the front, and you can walk yourself back to the front of your mat, lengthen your spine, forward fold, and come up with a flat back. Good, exhale, hands to your heart. All right, great. Now, if that's okay, and or if you had some yoga practice before your breast cancer experience, you might be saying, well, I want to jump back, or I want to go through chaturanga, which requires a little bit more arm strength. I'm going to show you what that looks like, but it's really important that you do this with a proper form in order to protect your shoulders. So let me show you that one. All right, so we inhale, arms stretch up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, head comes up slightly. Now, first you could walk back again to a plank, and then you lower down to chaturanga. See, elbows go back, chest is open, and then you swing up into upward facing dog. Hips up and back, downward facing dog. Good, again, couple of breaths here, stretching your shoulders and your low back. And then you look to the front. You might be ready to jump forward. You can jump both feet together up to the front, lengthen spine, forward fold, and inhale all the way up. Exhale to your heart. If chaturanga is okay with you, you could jump into chaturanga. So you inhale up, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, head comes up slightly. and then you jump back into chaturanga. Now you have to bend the elbows when you jump. Chaturanga. Inhale up for upward facing dog. Hips up and back, downward facing dog. So I make the point there, it's very important that if you're going to jump back, you have to bend the elbows. If you try to jump back into a plank, it's really jarring to your spine. So the arms act almost like brakes to cushion you as you jump back. So you're jumping back, and then you're in downward facing dog. And then you look forward, walk or jump. Lengthen your spine, forward fold, and come up with a flat back. Exhale, hands to your heart. All right, let me show you one more time. We'll show you first the walking back and then the jumping back. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, head up slightly. First option, walking back to a plank and then just swinging through to upward facing dog. Hips up and back, downward facing dog. Look to the front. Walk to the front. Lengthen spine. Forward fold. And come up. Exhale. Now one more time, the jumping back chaturanga. Inhale up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, head up. Now you plant your hands and jump back to chaturanga. Through upward facing dog and downward facing dog. Couple of breaths here, resting in downward facing dog. Now, if this is too much downward facing dog and you're going to a yoga class or even you're doing my videos, you can always put your knees on the ground and rest here. So knees down to the floor will take some pressure off of your arms. So it's great if you've got too much tension in your arms or shoulders, or you're not sure you're ready to spend a lot of time in downward facing dog yet, just put your knees on the floor. And then when you're ready, you push back up. You look to the front, bend your knees and jump. Lengthen your spine, forward fold, and come up. Exhale, hands to your heart. All right, great. So that's Sun Salutation A, or Surya Namaskar A. I'm going to show you Surya Namaskar B and Surya Namaskar C to complete the rest of this video. So let's actually start with C, because I think it's a little bit easier than B. So this one is really a continuous movement. So there's not as much time to stop and take a rest in downward facing dog. It's more a continuous movement, and I like it for that reason. So in this one, we cross our thumbs in front of us, and we inhale, stretch arms to the sky, arch your back slightly. Exhale, fold forward again with a flat back, bend your knees if you need to. Now the right foot steps far behind and you gaze forward, and then exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward to a plank. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin are on the floor. And then you slide forward, cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Now inhale, right foot forward, look forward. Exhale, left foot forward. And inhale, come all the way to the top. Now we go straight into the left side, forward fold. Left foot steps far behind, gaze forward, and downward facing dog. Inhale, forward to a plank. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin on the floor. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot forward, look forward. Exhale, right foot meets. Inhale, cross your thumbs and come up. Exhale, stop and breathe. So that's one set on each side. So in Surya Namaskar C, you step the right foot back, and then you step forward with the right foot, and then on the other side, you step the left foot back, and then step forward with the left foot. Let me show it to you one more time. We'll have one more round of that. So we cross our thumbs in front of us. Inhale, stretch high. Exhale, forward fold. Right foot steps back, gaze forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, forward for a plank. Knees, chest, and chin on the floor. Inhale, cobra. Downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot forward. Exhale, left foot meets. Cross your thumbs and come up. And then exhale, straight into the left side. Left foot back. Downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left foot forward. And the right. Cross your thumbs. And come up. Woo! I said Sun Salutations are here to build heat. They're sure building heat. I'm starting to sweat. All right, so that's Sun Salutation C. And the last one I'm going to show you is Sun Salutation B, or Surya Namaskar B. I find it the most physically demanding of all of the Sun Salutations because there's a lot of up and down in this one. Let me show you what it looks like. All right, so on an inhale, you bend your knees, arms come up for Utkatasana. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, head comes up slightly. And then just like in Surya A, you can walk back to a plank and then swing through to upward facing dog. Inhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. And then in this one, right away, you step the right foot forward and come up for warrior one. Exhale, hands back to the floor. And here again, you can take the swing through. Hips up and back, downward facing dog. And then the left foot comes forward, warrior one. Inhale up. Exhale down. Again, swing it through. Downward facing dog. Now here you take 3 breaths, as we do in Surya Namaskar A. And then look to the front and walk or jump. Lengthen your spine, forward fold, and then here we bend the knees and come out again through Utkatasana. Exhale to the top. All right, so that's the walking back version where we take just the swing through. If you're doing chaturanga and you know you've got the arm strength and you're able to put that weight into the arms, let me show you what that one looks like. So we just take chaturanga each time. So this is where it starts to get really vigorous. So you inhale, bend your knees, arms come up, Utkatasana. Exhale, forward fold, hands to the floor. Inhale, head up slightly. Walk or jump back to chaturanga through upward facing dog. Hips up and back, downward facing dog. And then right away, right foot forward for warrior one. Exhale, hands back to the floor. Another chaturanga. Hips up and back, downward facing dog. And then the left foot steps forward. Warrior one. Exhale, hands back to the floor. Another chaturanga. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. 3 breaths to rest. And then look to the front, walk or jump. Lengthen your spine, forward fold, bend your knees and come up through Utkatasana. Exhale, hands to your heart. Stop and breathe a moment. All right, guys, so that was our tutorial on the Sun Salutations that are a little bit more vigorous as compared to the initial Sun Salutations that we do modified with the blocks. So again, make sure that you're staying safe. Make sure that it's okay with your doctor that you're starting to put some weight into your arms if you're going to start working on downward facing dog or these types of Sun Salutations. If you're not sure or your doctor's not sure, you might think about seeing a physical therapist who specializes in cancer survivors so they can know and help you understand what you need to do. But again, know that we can get back to a really strong practice after cancer treatment. I had a bilateral mastectomy and 20-something lymph nodes removed from my right underarm. And I was really cautious when I started back. As I said, my surgeon told me no downward facing dog for at least 2 months. So I minded, even though I wasn't very excited about it. But then when I started back, I just started back really slowly. So just one downward facing dog at a time and slowly build that up over a period of weeks and months until you get all your strength back and maybe even more than you had before your cancer treatment. All right, so this has been Vigorous Sun Salutations. I'm going to be posting some vigorous yoga practices, so vinyasa practices, and I'll probably use these types of Sun Salutations there. Of course, remember, as I said before, you can always use the modified Sun Salutations with the blocks instead, depending on where you are in your practice. All right, so take care of you. Thanks for being with us. Namaste.